Burning Eyes Entertainment presents The H Guys in Celestial Crossing with special guest Nat 20.
The look of utter amazement on her face when we walk in is even worth the exorbitant price, almost.
Holy shit! Is that the Demogorgon just walking around?
Yeah, Demogorgon is in right now. Thank you, Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Her eyes actually physically bug out of her head slightly. It's really concerning from a medical standpoint.
And what does Knight of Sparrow keep doing? Calmly chatting him up. Those goody-goody shield-wielding twats give me a hard time.
What are you doing? The Earth pauses with her fingers halfway through a spell, leaving and curses loudly enough to attract attention when the magic fizzles. She turns to glare at me before vaulting to the expression on my face. Her angry retort comes out something more like a question.
Killing and looting?
You can't just... No! Look, these are people in costumes. Remember when I explained what cosplayers were?
Oh, so these are real ones.
Yes.
That means I won't get any experience for slaying them?
No,
Wait,
you fucking
does
munchkin.
Does she know she was in a game?
So it's not clear. You will not gain any experience from going on a mass murdering spree, no.
Nor will you get answers. Oh.
Her look of disappointment says it all, really. I take the homicidal elf with me toward the nearest information kiosk to pick up a map of the convention center. On the way, we're stopped several times by desperate Celestial Crossing fanboys who want to pose in pictures with Neareth. They fall all over themselves, complimenting her amazingly accurate and resourceful cosplay.
The next fool that comes up to us wanting to flash some bright-ass light in my eyes gets punched in the face, useless. Fair warning. I
note the tense set of her shoulders and how her glower has evolved into something that looks worryingly unstable.
I mean, that is a good point at conventions.
Yeah.
Just because you have a good outfit doesn't mean that you have to take a photo with fucking everyone.
It's a complete turnaround
Yeah.
from the wide-eyed awe she expressed earlier, and I try to phrase my concern carefully. I didn't think it would bother you so much. You've had to deal with worse at school, haven't you?
That was nothing like this.
She mutters her answer sourly. Before I can answer, a girl dressed as a dark elf comes barreling toward us and gushes over how natural Neareth's body paint looks compared to hers. It isn't until she asks what the warlock uses to make her ears that the pieces click together in my head. The muscles in Neareth's arms suddenly flex as if she means to take a swing at the shorter girl. By some miracle, realizes that she might be in danger and stops talking abruptly. The girl shows me a nervous look, especially when the real-life elf in front of her begins to tremble slightly. I think my friend here is just thirsty. No dick in a week will do that to her. We're going to hunt down a vending machine. Excuse us. I take Neareth's arm and guide her towards the section of the building where I know the games panel is being held. I'm breathing slightly harder than usual by the time we reach the room and turn to face her, fully expecting to have my head bitten off. Instead, I'm greeted by the most shocking thing I've seen since a half-naked elven warlock dropped in my lap. Neareth looks upset and not in her usual rage-fueled way. Her eyes are shut tight, even though her eyes are open and closing, as if to desperately block everyone and everything else out. Look, it's your home. You can't go back. Her arms are even clutching over her ears in a gesture so disturbingly vulnerable that I hear myself talking to her in a low voice the way one might expect to speak to a cornered animal.
God, it's me at a con.
Neareth, are you okay? This isn't just about the crowds, is it? Her eyes pop open and find mine immediately, looking angry and just a little bit frightened.
What the hell did you want me to say?
Music that we can barely hear is sad.
Oh, now she's finally coming to understand that. Yeah.
That you're right, and my world has always been a stupid fucking illusion created by other useless people like you?
Yes! She
Pretty
spits the
much.
word you out like a curse, but her gaze isn't on me anymore. Instead, she's scowling up at a decorative banner from the game taking up most of the wall behind us. Moodily, she crosses her arms in front of her and keeps staring over my shoulder.
I know that I don't fit into your world very well, and you've always been really aware of the fact that I didn't belong here because of it. But to me, this just felt like another raid.
With what party? You must be a shitty raider if it feels like a raid with nobody else but useless.
Weird, mostly boring one.
Okay,
but
fair enough.
seeing these idiots dressed up like archdemons and mages, it's nothing.
Because it is nothing. Because you are nothing. Get over yourself.
You're ones and zeros, bitch.
She shakes her head despondently, facial features turning sad.
Those clothes mean something in my world.
Well, I would say this. Imagine if Cloud Strife sees you, high-fiving Sephiroth, and you explain to him, yeah, that mass murder of your entire, childhood and village and whatever, yeah, that's nothing but an event used to fuel the trauma of your backstory.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be understandably pissed. Her eyes turn upward, and she stares hard at the ceiling tiles over her head. It takes me a long minute to realize that Neareth, tough, badass Neareth, is trying not to cry.
Hikaru, am I real?
No.
Well, let me sign you up for this philosophy class. Her voice is small, smaller than I've ever heard it, and for a moment I'm not sure what to say. I have a feeling that this is a very important question here, and I have to take my time thinking of an answer. Tell her she's not real.
I would say she's real, because I mean, like...
These are real boobs I'm touching. I mean, look, some of the other ones seem a little ambiguous. This seems like there's only one right answer. I hesitated because the truth is I honestly don't know, and I don't feel at all qualified to be helping you through
These are real boobs I'm touching. Actually, no, even if I am real...
These are
fake.
To be helping her through this existential crisis of hers. There's no straightforward answer, so I decided to go with pure gut instinct. You're living and breathing and standing right next to me, so as far as I'm concerned, you're definitely real, Neareth. Screw what anyone else says. I offer a weak smile, hoping that my words didn't make an already bad situation worse. Neareth looks at me with a mixture of annoyance and affection that only she could ever pull off. She's spared having to voice a reply as the line finally starts moving ahead of us and we're led into the panel room. We take seats as far up front as we can manage, which isn't all that far, honestly. The panel turns out to be more of an extended Q&A session than anything else. That's how they always go.
Yeah.
Wait for my chance, and when the game devs open the discussion to the audience, my hand shoots up into the air before anyone else's. Naturally, I'm ignored in favor of a cute blonde cosplaying as a succubus. That's also how it always goes.
Pretty much.
Especially if the devs are a bunch of nerdy guys.
Yeah.
The rest of the panel goes by like this. I raise my hand, but I'm still just one person out of 100.
There's way more than 100 people there.
Well, yeah. I shoot a pointed look over at Neareth, hoping she can throw a little bit of her magic around. She isn't paying much attention. She's slouched in her chair, staring at the back of the head of the guy in front of her, looking pretty perturbed. God, that fucking mohawk. Her concerns from earlier are clearly still bothering her. Try and comfort your friend, or continue to try getting your question answered.
Comfort her, because honestly, game devs aren't going to have answers to this. This is
if we're being realistic,
bullshit.
That goes nowhere. I lower my arm and gently poke her in the side. You okay? Her face immediately twists into a snarl and she opens her mouth to unleash a torrent of verbal abuse before pausing, obviously thinking better of it. She looks up at the ceiling again for a moment and I feel like shit for saying anything at all. She's clearly not okay.
I'll be fine once we talk to these idiots and get out of here.
Her voice is strained but quiet. I rack my brain for something else to say, but she shoots me a look out of the corner of her eye that says something along the lines of drop it or else. Those extra balls I gave you are coming off. I nod silently, wanting to keep my fourth balls. Waiting until the next call for questions before raising my hand again. I probably should have known better anyway. Neareth has only ever interacted with me on her own terms, now that I think about it. She's fine with me comforting her when it's her turning to me, but apparently my offering is a step too far. As much as we've been through together, which admittedly isn't that much, the fact that we've only known each other for a few weeks has never been more clear. With that in mind, I realize that the best way to support her at this point is just focus on getting the job we came here for done. 60 agonizing minutes later, the Q&A comes to a close. Fuck. I lower my arm in defeat, trying to shake some life back into my numb fingers. What the hell do we do now? I fully expect Neareth to make some sassy comment on how I can't get anything done, but instead she simply scrunches her nose in irritation before getting up out of her seat and making a beeline to the backstage exit. It's all I can do to scramble after her. We reach the edge of the stage, fighting our way through a crowd of people moving in the opposite direction before we're stopped by security. So close. We're literally only a few feet away from the devs, who probably don't know anything. But Neareth is evidently done with all the tomfoolery. Her hands fly through the motions of a now familiar spell, and she murmurs a low incantation, and this time I can actually taste the electricity in the air. Tastes like Mountain Dew Livewire.
Ha.
It's like licking a battery. Not that I've ever done that.
Totally have.
The developers and you or him, the developers and security guards all freeze what they're doing, their eyes glazed over.
I refuse to answer your question.
We're able to walk right up to them without further trouble, and I glance around nervously to make sure everyone else is out of earshot. Hello, we had a question for you that...
Is it possible for a gateway to open between this world and the world of the...
She cuts herself off, struggling to say the word when they take pity on her. Game? The devs are obviously not so far out of it they don't immediately start laughing at us.
What are you guys talking about? There's no... I mean, you guys know this shit isn't real, right?
No, we have Nintenditis. Neareth stiffens, and even I flinch at the harsh words. As if the elf wasn't already questioning her existence, this was the verbal equivalent of pushing a burn victim into a hot bath.
Yep.
Not a bad metaphor. A very hot bath. Neareth turns on her heel and marches away, leaving me to deal with the brain-washed devs on my own. Luckily, the smell doesn't wear off immediately. Sadly, however, I now have to worry about finishing up the discussion quickly, since there's no telling what kind of trouble a distressed elf and warlock can get up to at a gaming convention. There's magic within the game itself that opens doors to different dimensions, so is it really such a dumb question? Get a high enough level magic user and they can even get to a different plane of existence, right? So, in actuality, did one of you, or stumble onto a gap in time and space, turn it into a game. Maybe.
I mean, look at this from the game dev perspective.
My voice fades out at how stupid I sound.
Just like, again, look at this from a game dev perspective. Someone at a con comes up and asks you this.
Yeah, you're like, okay, kid. Like,
Look, I honestly
Alright,
didn't
that's
even...
enough pop
I
for
didn't
you.
spend that much time writing the lore for that dungeon. Really? I just
Yeah.
co-opted my old game group's D&D session, okay?
mhm.
God. Whoops.
This was the kind of the king of idiotic ideas, the grand poobah of embarrassing moments. And please answer without laughing. Obediently, the developing team holds in its mirth and they shake their heads one by one.
No way, kid. Celestial Crossing is just something we made up. It's completely fictional.
My shoulders slump and I play my riskiest card out of desperation. Hopefully they don't remember this conversation when the spell wears off. Okay, well, is there anything else you can think of that might explain how a character from the game could, theoretically, get over into the real world? With amused expressions, the devs look at each other and shrug. I wilt in disappointment until one of them appears to entertain the idea for a second longer than the others.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about keeping this within the realm of fantasy
Yes?
and fiction,
Not really different things, but right?
Psycho.
I impatiently try to draw the words out of him faster, wanting to check on Neareth, but also needing anything to show for our efforts today.
Well, our magic system in the game is pretty complex, but in theory, any spell can be reversed under similar conditions.
What, so you have a dream where you get her to not go through the door?
That's why shield spells and spell breaches take the same number of turns and are learned under the same school of magic.
Hey, what do you know? That's actually an interesting way to develop your magic system.
Yeah.
The lead developer shrugs and smiles, and I realize he's making all of this up on the spot. Still, it does make sense. Kind of, and it's more information than we had. Got it, and thanks for answering my question. Big fan, by the way.
Yeah, we kind of figured, you fucking freak.
I turned to go, feeling hopeful that maybe this whole enterprise wasn't a complete waste of time. I'm in such a hurry to find Neareth that I almost missed their parting words as they ducked towards the exit. Your fly is unzipped.
If you think of the portal between worlds as a door, then it probably opens both ways, kid. That's the best answer I can come up with without a fresh coffee.
I mull over this imagery with more seriousness than it probably deserves before mentally storing it away for later. First, I need to make sure Neareth
Request
didn't...
accepted. Get the game developer fresh coffee.
First, I need to make sure Neareth didn't go on some kind of rampage. I scan the hallways.
I scan the hallways and find them drenched in blood.
I scan the hallways
Absolutely.
outside the panel room, but the area is thick with gamers and nerds as far as the eye can see. Finally, I decided to make my way over to the information kiosk, hoping that Neareth might remember it and return if she gets lost. I only make it about halfway when I nearly collide with the woman herself.
Oh, good, I found you. Look what I got.
She proceeds to shove several large convenience store bags full of yakisoba bread into my arms. The hell?
Yeah, there's a stupid contest or something, and they really love my armor, because really, who wouldn't?
She won the cosplay contest.
And they offered me some useless prize.
I repeat her words dumbly, a bad feeling rising in the back of my mind. A useless prize, you say?
It was some of that flimsy paper currency you're always whining about.
$600.
60,000 yen or something like that. Amazing.
Yep. 60,000 yen. You walked away from...
Of course not. I just waved my fingers, threw a little magic at them, and convinced them to award me something useful instead.
$20 worth of yakisoba bread.
She waves one of the bags in front of my face in a tempting manner, smirking with victory.
You're welcome.
What can I say
Let me
except...
say you're welcome.
Nira spends the next few minutes trying to get a response out of me, I think. I'm not sure what happens next, to be honest, as I more or less pass out at the thought of Nira turning down free money. It's free money that I could have used to fix all the shit she broke in my house.
Still, at least she doesn't seem depressed anymore, triumphantly nibbling on one of her prizes.
Once I'm finally recovered enough to rejoin the world of living, I lead us out of the crowded convention center and toward the bus stop. God, I'm sorry this place is so hot. Where we catch the last one
noticed.
heading back to the apartments. I'm so sorry, my AC is a piece of shit.
Eh,
We pay our fare and share a seat toward the back. I spend the ride home thinking about what the developer said. It's all just random stuff they made up on the spot, but I try to consider from the viewpoint that everything about the past few weeks have been batshit insane. Why stop suspending my disbelief now? So with that in mind, a door. The doorway in between Neareth's world and mine was a dream the first time, wasn't it? I mean, I was asleep at the time, woke up with her suddenly there, but I had slept every single night since then and nothing had happened. Maybe I had to dream her away for it to actually work? Maybe, but who can control what they dream about?
possible.
A glance over at Neareth, who was already fast asleep, leaning her head against the window. Would she laugh in my face if I told her what I was thinking about, or just smack the back of my head and tell me to stop wasting my time thinking of nonsense? Hell, what if it all was just nonsense? And if it was, would having Neareth around for the foreseeable future really be that awful? Yes it
Yes.
would. Aside from the obvious complications of her being an unapologetic bitch, at least the game acknowledges it.
Yeah.
There's also the logistics of the situation to consider. How the hell am I going to explain her to my dad? Is she going to be able to make it on her own in the world, or will I be stuck living with her for the rest of my life? I feel my blood pressure rise at the thought of the future looming ahead of me. A future filled with yakisoba bread, violent wake-up calls, and no dates ever, because what sane girl would date a guy living with a super tall cosplayer who refuses to wear pants? Feeling more drained than ever, I push all of those thoughts aside for now. They aren't helping anything but my potential for going prematurely bald. A yawn rises up out of my chest suddenly. All of a sudden, this thinking reminds me that we've had a long day. I'm pretty exhausted physically and mentally.
Oh, here's where they wake up fucking arm in arm with each other.
I settle in
Yeah.
for a short nap until we reach the apartment, resting my head against the back of my seat. The bus lifts to one side and make a sharp turn, and my head lolls onto Neareth's shoulder.
Yeah.
She grunts, but doesn't wake up to punch me in the face, so I stay there. It's a much comfier position to sleep in than trying to keep my neck craned upward. As I drift off, I reason that I'll be able to process it much more easily when I wake up anyway. Something feels off about this. Very obviously dreaming, but I've never been aware that I'm dreaming without waking up before. There's nothing but darkness around me.
And a weird
Darkness.
squishy feeling against my face.
Darkness imprisoning me.
Hey,
Absolute nothing. Darkness and a dim outline of something in the distance. When no other choices present itself, Invisible Kid never knew what he did. I make my way toward the shape ahead. As I get closer, split into two, and I can soon make out the form of a woman standing next to me. It's my dead mom. A doorway.
About time you showed up, useless.
I'd recognized that voice in my sleep. In fact, I did. I mean, obviously. Because I just recognized it. I finally reached the door, and the person standing next to it is indeed Neareth. She grins.
Well, I didn't think you'd be able to unfuck yourself long enough to do it, but you managed to impress me, hero.
Oh god, she called you hero.
You found the doorway.
I guess I did, since we're presumably in my dream, but I don't really feel like I've accomplished anything. All I did was fall asleep. Why do you think it worked this time and not the other times I've fallen asleep? Neareth gives a careless shrug.
Could be that the spell had a time limit, or maybe it's because we fell asleep together for the first time.
So you must sleep with her all the time.
Yeah, could even be the simplest fact that you fell asleep touching me.
Oh, so from here on out you have to fucking sleep in the same bed as her.
Yeah.
Why not?
You have a really heavy, fat head, by the way.
I want to argue that it can't be that easy, but the evidence is staring us right in the face. As if sensing that our conversation is over, the doorway starts to glow with light around its edges, almost as if.
It's calling me home.
She doesn't say it with hesitation or excitement, just acceptance. You don't have to go if you don't want. Her snort is comforting and familiar enough that I relax despite the setting. I even feel a small smile form on my lips in answer to hers.
I do have to go. At least in my world, I have a purpose.
Are we almost done with the game?
Holy
I don't
shit.
know.
Besides, I miss being able to raid, loot, and maim any time I want.
I'm a psychopath. Her grin stretches wide and she offers one last uncharacteristically gentle slap to the back of my head.
Do yourself a favor and man the fuck up. Tell that cute girl how you feel and stop wasting her time.
Even though you obviously fucked everything up by
totally,
convincing her that...
totally.
With those parting words, she opens the door, letting out a flood of golden light, and without looking back, steps through. I shut the door and lock it behind her to make sure nothing else can get out. The instant I let the latch drop, I wake up with a loud snort. Ah, cocaine. I'm alone, sitting on the bus where Neareth had been only minutes before. The bus is parked right at my stop, and I scramble to get off before the bus driver leaves. He gives me an extremely odd look as I step down, and I wonder if he remembers the girl I got on with. And then probably just assumed I murdered her, like most people that go to cons.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Outside, the air feels chilly, or at least I notice it more now that I'm alone. I simply stand there for a time, wondering if the events of the past couple days really even happened. I stand there so long, it's a surprise when someone gently touches me on the arm.
Hikaru, are you alright?
I turn and see a concerned Mika holding my sleeve uncertainly. It takes me a second to realize she's waiting on my response. I'm fine.
Are you sure?
I said I'm fine. She bites her lip.
Where's the Neareth-chan?
I'm a little surprised to hear the name said so easily. Was it all real after all? I guess. She had to go back home. I'm sorry, Mika-chan, but you just missed her.
Oh,
She looks genuinely disappointed, like she wanted to be in lesbians with her instead of with me.
that's a shame. She seemed really cool and interesting.
Not like you.
I would have liked to get to know her better.
Speaking about Neareth to Mika makes me wonder. Everything about her was real. Should I take her final parting words to heart? Tell her how I feel? I gather my courage and open my mouth. Mika-chan, And then she looks directly into my eyes. There's nothing aggressive about it, only curious, and I still shrink away. While my old insecurities falling back into place at such a familiar scenario. Stomach flooded with butterflies, that's about the first bit of nonsense that pops into my head. I wanted to wash those dishes you lent me before giving them back. Just give me a few minutes and I'll bring them to your apartment.
Oh, sure, that's fine.
If she looked disappointed before, it doesn't hold a candle to the expression she's wearing now. I turn my back on those big, sad eyes of hers and practically run towards the apartment building. I curse myself the whole way up the stairs through the living room and into my bedroom, where I immediately jump on the computer. The login screen of Celestial Crossing beams at me with Neroth's character rendered in all its three-dimensional glory. Except the real third dimension. I click, I guess fourth dimension, whatever. I click on her inventory menu to try not to imagine the scowl of disapproval she'd be wearing right now. Her digital face blinks at me accusingly, and I find myself reassuring her. Next time, I promise I'll do it next time. Oh, cool.
Oh,
We beat the game.
Yep.
we did it.
We got the ending
We
with...
got
got
the
it.
piss poor ending, though.
there's
Ending
worse.
2. There's like 4
4.
endings.
Or 5. Thanks for
5?
playing. 4, maybe,
did
I
it.
guess.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's because we couldn't make up our mind whether we want to be confident or fucking a pussy.
Yeah. Fucking a pussy.
Voice talent, you mean us? Haha.
No offense to the people that actually... I'm sure you were great. We just
Yeah.
decided
Yeah.
not to.
Yeah. We did it, guys. We made it through an entire Let's Play in one go.
In one go. That's the only one
Yeah.
go we've ever
No,
done.
actually,
We
no,
got
we
the
did.
bad ending.
No, we got Galgun done in one go.
Oh, right.
Are we doing that?
Are we?
We also technically got Sunrider Academy done.
I hate you.
Technically.
If this counts, then Sunrider Academy counts, because we got the bad ending.
No, this is a real end.
Yeah. No, Sunrider Academy was a you lost.
Pretty sure this is a you lost too.
No.